Hey guys, it's Scott here. In today's video, we're going to be covering the Utah versus Florida. And I've also added a new co-host to my channel. Trey is going to be joining me on this video. And we're going to get into Utah and Florida. And, the spread for the game, Utah was favored by 2.5 points. A lot of people have made the case that, if this game was in a neutral site or in Utah, the spread would be as much as 7 to 10 points. And you can look at the ESPN FPI indicator. You can see that Florida is the favorite to win the game. So I'm going to turn over to my co-host Trey. He's going to talk about Florida and what he thinks his chances are to be able to pull off the upset versus Utah this week.
Hey, what's everybody? Trey here. Everybody knows that Florida's got a new head coach. Billy Napier came over from Louisiana Lafayette. He brought a couple of transfers with him: Osiris Torrance, right guard, and Montrell Johnson, running back. This is going to be a really good game. If Florida can do what they need to do, take care of the ball, this is going to be a really good game. This is one of the more intriguing games of week one. We're going to see how Florida comes out. Are they going to be ready? Also, Utah. All right, is Cam Rising ready? He's a Heisman candidate. We know what we're going to get with that team, but this is a different environment, something that they haven't played in. Going to be in the swamp. Could be rain, storms, showers. It plays in heavily to what both teams want to do, which is run the ball, though. So Utah's been in their indoor practice facility. They've been preparing for this. They've got the heat turned up. They've got it loud in there. They're going to come in. They're going to be ready. Let's see if Florida's ready to go too.
So looking at the offense for Florida, they got a new quarterback that's going to take over full time this year, Anthony Richardson. He shared time last year with Emory Jones. How do you think he's going to handle that role as being, the guy in Florida?
Well, I don't know how he's going to handle it, but I know that he's got to step up, and it's now or never because after him, it's Jack Miller, transfer from Ohio State. I don't know how ready he's going to be. And then you got Jalen Kitna. I don't think either one of those guys are going to be ready this year, so it's got to be Anthony Richardson this year. He's got to get it done.
So the running back spot, Lorenzo Lingard's listed number one on the depth chart, but you seem to think there's somebody else that can overtake that spot to be the number one back.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Montrell Johnson. He knows Napier's system. He knows the plays. He knows the calls. I think he's going to take the first snap in that Utah game. If it's not him, it's going to be Naquan Wright. I think Lorenzo Lingard's going to be that running back 3.
And what about the defense? There's some really good pieces, for building block of the defense. Brick Cox, the defensive end, Ventrell Miller, middle linebacker, Jason Marshall Jr., the corner, and Trey Dean, the free safety. Pretty good pieces. What do you think about the defense coming into the game?
I think that Patrick Toney's going to get this defense turned around. I just don't know if it's going to be game one. I don't know. I don't know how if he's had enough time to implement all of his stuff that he needs to get done. But there are some very good players on this team. Brenton Cox, or on the defense, sorry. Brenton Cox, Garvin Dexter, Ventrell Miller, he's come back from injury. Jason Marshall, even Jaden Hill, he played really good at times last year. He's come back from injury too. Trey Dean, he's got a lot of experience. There's a lot of experience on the team. It's just if the coaches can get that talent out of them.
So do you worry about the mental strength of the football team? Last year Florida started off really good. Played Alabama in the swamp, gave them everything they wanted. Probably should have won the game if a couple things would have went their way. And after that, it's like the football team just seemed to kind of quit. Do you worry that Napier, they're going to quit on Napier this year? Do you think he's able to come in and get the team fired up? He's certainly made a really good first impression on the fan base.
Yeah, I think the mental health of the team's a lot better. I don't think that's going to be an issue this year. I think a lot of that is to do with leadership. I think Dan Mullen gave up and the team gave up. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, Napier's coming in. He brought a lot of coaching staff with him from Louisiana. They're going to bring a new take on everything, and they're going to bring their positive energy over here. And I think it's going to rub off on the team.
And here's an interesting record for Napier against top 25 teams. He's 1-4. How do you think he's going to handle that versus Utah?
Well, at Louisiana Lafayette, it's a little bit harder to take on top 25 teams. You're not going to have the talent they have. You're not going to have the players that an SEC team has. I would look more at what the scores of those top 25 games were. I don't know them right off the hand, but the record, I don't think that's really indicative of what he can do versus top 25 teams. You got to give him a shot with Florida, with the players that Florida's got, and give him a chance to face top 25 teams here.
And we'll take a look at Utah and a lot of Utah's roster. There's a lot of returning starters, especially on the offensive end. They returned, three of their top four leading rushers of last year. Cameron Rising comes back, who, as he took over about the third game of last year, and as he took off, Utah's season kind of took off with it. And on defense, they got to replace the loss of Devin Lloyd, who was a, very good piece of that defense. So, what do you think about Utah coming into the game?
Like you said, Cameron Rising goes, Utah goes. He was really good last year. I think he's going to be really good again this year. How does he handle the pressure from the swamp? That is going to be their biggest question. But I think he's going to be a dark horse Heisman contender. He's been really good. They got to make sure that their running back Thomas can keep the fumbles under control. I know he's had fumble issues in the past, and apparently there's going to be rain, so that ball's going to be slick, and I'm sure there's going to be more than a couple turnovers if there is rain. It's hard to handle the football when there's rain and all that other factors. So Utah's going to be really good. They're going to be, if they win this game, I think it squarely puts them in that playoff contention. I mean, you've got to beat USC and Oregon, and everything else is it's not really a competition with Utah. So if they can win this one, I think they're right there in the thick of things.
I think you can say Utah's a little battle tested. They played Oregon when Oregon was ranked number 4 in the regular season, won 38-7, and then rematch same Oregon team in the Pac-12 title game. They won 38-10. So you could say this team, a lot of the same pieces are there. Yeah, I don't think I worry as much with Utah about them being able to show up. I know the spot can be a real hostile environment. But if there was a team that you would want to take in there to handle that environment, I think, this team should certainly be battle tested enough to, get in there and be able to handle that. And on the defense, there's a piece that used to play for the Gators last year. You want to talk about him?
Yeah, Mahmoud Diabate was a Gator last year. He came in and he had quite a few tackles for Florida. He actually led the team with 89 tackles, 2.5 for loss. He flew all over the place. He was a really good player for the Gators. He's now with Utah. He is going to be their starting linebacker. He's a senior. That dude, he's a ball player. He's going to be good for an NFL team next year. And the Gators are going to miss that. They're going to miss him.
And Lander Barton also, he's a freshman. He's a very highly rated player. Obviously got a starting job as a freshman. You think between them two, they can help replace some of that production lost by Devin Lloyd and the linebacking core.
I don't know if they can replace all of it because Devin Lloyd was a specimen, but that will definitely help lessen the blow.
And I'll point out that Utah, their last few years for, points per game given up, 15.1, 14, 17.9, 16.2. So it seems like with a defense, no matter what, pieces really come over, they always – you get a Utah defense. Seems to be, part of Kyle Whittingham's staple to have a really good defense there at Utah. And Clark Phillips is a, very highly rated recruit, the highest in history. So do you think the defense has what it takes to be able to potentially slow down Richardson and get the job done?
Yeah, with all of Florida's question marks on offense, I think this defense is more than capable of slowing down Florida's offense. It's just, can they? And I think they can to a point.
So what do you think has to go right for Florida to be able to pull off the victory tomorrow in the Swamp?
I think they've got to have some help from Utah. I think a couple of turnovers from Utah, a little bit of sloppy play. Maybe they're not 100% ready. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they underestimated the Swamp. Maybe maybe a couple of balls bounce their way. But they're going to need a couple things to go right for them. And Utah, they just got to protect the ball. That's all they got to do. They can protect the ball and keep Richardson from making huge chunk plays, and I think they're going to get the win.
I know I hate to say that one game can have a full impact on the season, but next week Kentucky comes calling for Florida. And do you worry about if they lose this game, that hangover could certainly carry into the Kentucky game, who's had a history of being pain in the side of Florida in recent years?
If this was last year under Dan Mullen, I would say yes, but this is a different regime. This is Billy Napier. I'm going to say no. I think he's going to get them ready to go regardless of what happens tomorrow night in the Swamp.
And for Utah to win, what has to go right for Utah for them to be able to pull off this victory tomorrow?
like I said, they just got to protect the ball. They've got to protect the ball and run it. They've got to run the ball, protect the ball, limit the turnovers, and limit Anthony Richardson from breaking off huge chunk plays.
So, what's your game prediction? How do you see the outcome going tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a really good game. I think the only thing that separates these two teams is going to be Florida's lack of depth. I think it's going to be a really good game into the fourth quarter, and I think Utah's going to pull out the win in the Swamp, 31-21.
I have to agree. I think Utah certainly going to win. I'll try to look at both sides of it and keep the opinion down the middle as possible. And I trust more with Utah. You know what you're going to get. Cameron Rise is coming back. Thomas is coming back. They got a lot of returning players, and on defense, they lose Devin Lloyd, but there's still a lot of pieces that are ready to certainly step up, and be able to do it. Whereas Florida's kind of the unknown. They're replacing a lot of their top rushers from last year. Emory Jones, Damian Pierce. Rich is going to be the guy now, and as you can see on his stat line, he has 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Certainly not a very good touchdown to interception ratio. So I wonder how he's going to handle that full time. He is very dynamic. You can watch highlights of him last year, and he just would gash defenses running the ball. So that'll certainly help. So I think I'm going to have to take the known here and go with Utah. You certainly fear it in the Swamp. You see a lot of teams just struggle to play on there, but I think if there's anybody that can get it done, it's certainly Utah.
Yeah, I think that team mimics Kyle Whittingham's personality a lot. They're going to come in, they're going to be ready to play.
And that's going to wrap it up. We both think Utah's going to win this week, but Florida's certainly a team to look out for as the season goes on. This will be a big test. Week 1's going to certainly show a lot of the Florida team. So certainly a game to bear watching tomorrow. And thanks, guys, for watching. Plenty more.